All right, so mathematician Claude Shannon, blah, blah, blah. All right, so this part right here is just like introducing the person, right? You can see here his most important paper is a mathematical theory of all this, and it just goes on to explain what the paper is about. But because I'm not actually interested in the information, grabbing specific evidence from the text, I just want to describe the overall structure. All of this right here is just nonsense that I don't need to know. Okay, so what I have right now is we have this famous mathematician. He published a very important paper that did a bunch of cool stuff. Okay, now let's see what the next sentence says. It says Robert Gallinger. So we have a different person now. It says one of Shannon's colleagues said that the bit was Shannon's discovery, and from it the whole communications revolution was sprung. Okay, so this is interesting. So this is another perspective, right? So another colleague or researcher or mathematician, whatever, take or perspective on Claude Shannon's work. Okay, so which choice best describes the overall structure of the text? Without even looking at the answer choices, what I have is famous mathematician introduced, famous work that he had introduced, and then some other researchers' commentary on his work. So A says it presents a theoretical concept, illustrates how the name of the concept has changed, and shows how the name has entered common usage. This makes absolutely no sense, right? So what theoretical concept is being introduced? None. We have a mathematician being introduced, so it's not A. B says it introduces a respected researcher, so it lines up, right? A mathematician is a respected researcher because it literally says foundational figure, okay? Describes the aspect of his work. The important paper is the aspect of his work, and suggests why the work is historically significant. All right, so does it suggest if it's historically significant? So what we have here is a researcher saying that his work was, and from it, the whole communications revolution has sprung. That sounds pretty significant to me historically, right? So I'm definitely leaning towards B, but let's read through the other answer choices. It names a company where an important mathematician worked, details the mathematician's career at the company, provides an example of the recognition he's received there. So this is really narrowing the scope, right? Our intro talks about the mathematician and how he's a really foundational figure, but it doesn't mention the company that he was employed at, Bell Labs, until the second sentence, right? And so C is really trying to push you towards, his career at that company, which was literally just mentioned by name and nothing else. So it cannot be C. D says it mentions a paper, offers a summary of the paper's findings, it presents a researcher's commentary on the paper. This is probably the strongest distractor answer, right? Mentioning a paper, which it does up here, summary, which it does, and presents a researcher's commentary on the paper, which, you could say it does offer that commentary, but I would say that this answer right here, D, is not as strong as B for this reason, right? You have to understand that when it says it presents a researcher's commentary on the paper, this entire answer choice is really focused on that paper, right? And while a big portion of this excerpt does talk about the paper, what it's really getting at is praising Claude Shannon as being just foundational figure in informational theory, right? When Robert Gallinger, the colleague, says Shannon's discovery, so this is the only mention of sort of attributing it back to the paper, and from it, the whole communications revolution has sprung. That is really giving all the credit to Claude Shannon instead of specifically critiquing or praising what's in the actual paper, right? And B just works so much better with it, introducing that respected researcher, which D does not, right? D just says straight up, it mentions a paper without mentioning, the most important part, the main character in all of this, which is Claude Shannon. Therefore, our answer choice here is going to be B.